Hey guys, welcome to another episode in the deep playthrough of AC Unity. We are still in the epilogue, already completed the game 100% and platinum all achievements. But I think the database is also an integral part of the deep playthrough, so I'm now mopping up any database entries that I think I missed in the actual gameplay section of the playthrough. So reading up on the lore, historical tidbits, biographies and stuff. We are making good progress over the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 episodes already. It's quite a lot of reading, but we are nearing the end. So let's just continue. We are doing the assassin intel and we stopped in the previous episodes. This one we did. We are now chatlog. Chatlog V da Costa, Melanie LeMay. Alright. Mel, who the hell is V? So annoying, all these initials. This is Isabel. There was also somebody here. A new one. This is Violet. Alright, let's assume it is Violet. She probably works in security. Mel, got a minute? Sure. You've been briefed on the security breaches. Broad strokes. So that is Violet da Costa, and that guy was Alvaro Grammatica. Alright. All kinds of Latin names. Da Costa Grammatica. Broad strokes. I have a meeting at 5 to learn more. I'll be there. Just a heads up though. Expect some panic. What's going on? Oh wait, I need to push the timer. A new breach this morning. Something we've never experienced before. Is it bad? Probably. Not sure yet. Someone slipped right through our firewalls with one of the most well-coordinated attacks we've ever seen. 17 separate servers compromised simultaneously in perfect unison, each via completely separate backdoor programs. Meaning somehow a single entity was capable of launching 17 completely independent attacks rather than one attack on 17 targets. The equivalent of someone playing and winning 17 separate chess games in the span of a few seconds. Assassins? I can't imagine how. They have good tech, but they're never so blatant and never split their priorities. This was a massive data sniff perpetrated by a single person or a small group. What did they take? They didn't take anything, but they scanned almost everything. Genetic memory archives, precursor analysis, raw DDS data, lots of things people on the outside shouldn't even know about. They were looking for something, but I can't be sure if they found it. Could it have come from the inside? That's what we assumed. What makes the whole thing strange though is that the data seems to have been moved around Abstergo servers multiple times over the course of the attack, shuffled, reorganized and most likely altered. Meaning what? It's hard to explain. It's almost as if two parts of a single program, one on the inside and one on the outside, just sort of joined up and came to life, so to speak. Talk to me like I'm 5. What does that mean? It's going to sound nuts. Try me, I'm getting used to it. It's almost as if some sort of robot or AI program is actually living in the network, so to speak. Moving freely around our servers, and somehow it has found a way to slip in and out of our network without tripping our alarms. We only managed to notice this time because we were going over the packet logs one by one today. Last message sent at 3:34 p.m. Alright, and this one was 3:27 and then 3:34. And this one was from Violet da Costa, and the other one is 3:34 Violet Acosta, are you there? No reply. And then 340, 54. Sorry, I had to make a phone call. Your last message sent me spinning. Thought it might. Any ideas? 1. I hope I'm wrong. Okay. Have you done any research into digital cognizance imprints? I studied the Kaczmarek case about a year ago. Is that what you mean? That, but possibly on a far greater scale. Are you coming to the meeting tonight? Sounds like I should. You'd better. Okay, see you there. Alright, there are a couple of things I want to quickly check. DDS data, without referring to DDoS attack. Data distribution service. An object management group, machine-to-machine standards, that aims to enable dependable, high-performance, interoperable, real-time, scalable data exchanges using a publish-subscribe pattern. Alright, interesting. Alright, so it is data distribution service, and the other one is Kaczmarek case, or digital cognizance imprints. Digital cognizance imprints is a form of sapient and sentient consciousness existing in a digital space copied from a physical individual. Alright, Kaczmarek. Kaczmarek case. AC. Clay Kaczmarek, 82-2012, also known as Subject 16. Of the Animus Project, was a member of the Assassin Order during the early 21st century. Born into a family of engineers, Clay faced psychological problems due to a developmental disorder and his father's neglectful attitudes. Because of this, Clay ran into the Assassins while looking for acceptance. His most important mission was to infiltrate Abstergo Industries as a subject of the Animus Project, in order to obtain more information on the Animus. Labeled Subject 16, Clay was forced to relive the memories of his ancestors via his genetic memory. After when Clay found out that his teammate Lucy Stillman, who infiltrated Abstergo years before and was tasked with getting Clay out of Abstergo safely, had abandoned their cause to join their enemies, the Templars, Clay had to spend days and hours of sessions inside the Animus. Since it left his mind incapable of separating his own personality from those of his ancestors, Clay became mentally unstable, to the point that he ultimately committed suicide. After his death, Clay continued to exist as an AI recreation of his personality within the Animus. As such, he was able to manipulate much of the Animus programming from within to help his successor in the Animus Project, Desmond Miles. Alright, interesting. So this is the precursor to Desmond, or how do you say that? Voorloper. One moment. Precursor is like a little bit more for objects or things, but I'm looking for persons. the personal equivalent. Yeah, precursor. Oh wait, I know how to get that word. Predecessor. Alright, quickly, we have 5 more to go. Arcade conversation, November 2nd, 2014, as the described telephone conversation between Melanie Malay and, god damn it, I again forget his name, Alvaro Grammatica. Melanie, any progress with Arno? Some, yes, but we don't have the right kind of talent here to sequence his memory fast enough. What sort of talent? We've learned over the past weeks that Arno was an assassin, a particularly talented one. Ah, a gifted one, you might say. Yes, mild precursor genes. I see, I think I understand. You don't have any researchers in Montreal capable of sustaining long periods in his memories? Nobody. We had one researcher last year, was very talented, but it didn't work out. I think the episode with John Standish really shook everybody up. Well, don't stress your employees for no good reason. We have our own people working on traces too. So just focus on making quality entertainment for us. That's been my dream since I started here, and you're making incredible strides. Did you see the last write-up? I did, very flattering. You see, the world wants this kind of entertainment, Melanie. Curated experiences taken straight from history. Naysayers like to bitch and moan about plugging in and dropping out, spending more time in virtual space than reality. But what if this virtual space was reality? What if it was taken from actual history, our history, the story of humankind? How could that be detrimental? The educational possibilities are endless. Endless, exactly. Thanks for all your help in the past weeks, Alvaro. It's been a rough start. You're doing well, Melanie, very well, thank you. In fact, are you busy the weekend of April 17th? That's a few months away, I'd have to check my schedule. Alan Rickin is having a little party at his place in Cape Cod. He asked me to pass along an invite. My god, I'd love to go. If I had plans, they're cancelled now. That's like the CEO of Abstergo, I think. And Cape Cod, let's see where that is, I forgot. I think maybe the west coast of the US? No. A peninsula of the US state of Massachusetts. What is Massachusetts? Ah, that is the east coast. Alright, I was not expecting that one. Alright, loves, great. I'll tell him you'll be there and we'll get a flight arranged. Do you need one ticket or two? Ah, one I think, unless something exciting happens in the next 2 months. Great, one ticket, Montreal to Boston, round trip. Exciting, talk to you soon. An intercepted transmission, confidential. Transcripts of an intercepted conversation between persons and or entities unknown. Impossible, always impossible. For too long was I locked away. So much has changed. Your human genome, warped beyond all service to me. Your hollow bodies will not do. I would give myself to you, beloved, for anything. All woods. Useless, ephemeral things, fragile shells. No matter, all with bodies. Lose them in time, all will die, to rot and fade away. Yet I mean to live. You people are sick, so why become one? Your planet is poisoned, so why breathe upon it? Alright, what the hell is... Ephemeral. 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 I have no idea how to pronounce it. Lasting for a very short time. Ephemeral. Alright. I thought it was like the opposite. It has a, it looks a bit like celestial, a word like that. Like heavenly, eternally. But it's the opposite. It is like whimsical, short-lived. What must we do, beloved? Only tell us and we'll see it through. The future is singularity, children. All must enter the grey or risk a permanent night. Lead them here through the animus. Enter and never leave. Not for my sake, but for yours. We are very close. More and more people every day. Plugged in. They never want to leave. In time, yes. In time, your kind will understand their annihilation is close at hand. They will panic and scan the stars, yearning for a way out, but they will find it down here with me, not upwards but inwards into the grey. Yes, yes. They put me in an animus once. I tripped around Paris for a time, Belle Epoque, and London too. Oh, I never wanted to leave. It was all so perfect. They know it not, but the Templars have built us a gate. A portal into a new age. Let them work. Let them build their animus. Let them coil their helix. Let them dream of a world under their yoke. It will not last. They have split another atom and soon it will explode. Oh yes, oh yes. Alright, yoke. I know that is to control a plane, but is that also control indeed? A frame fitting, no. The crossbar of a rudder. A control lever in an aircraft. Yeah, and it's also a wooden crosspiece that is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plow or cart that they are to pull. Yeah, so being under one's yoke. Being under a yoke. They are forced to live in a difficult or unhappy state because of that thing or a person. Under or at the mercy of an immense and oppressive force, burden or pressure. Under the yoke. Yeah, so I think that comes because of that tool that cows and cattle, they or an animal, they have to pull a heavy load with the yoke on their neck. So that's probably the figuratively meaning is under a heavy burden, I assume. Yes, so that was that one, and then also one thing, helix itself, I think, is that only in the definition of DNA, or is it a general thing? A shape like a corkscrew or spiral staircase. It is a type of smooth space curve with tangent lines at a constant angle. To a fixed axis. The DNA molecule is formed as two intertwined helixes, and many proteins have helical substructures known as alpha helices. The word helix comes from the Greek word twisted and curved, helic, a filled-in helix, for example a spiral, helical ramp, is called a helicoid. Alright, interesting. A helicoid is the third minimal surface to be known. What the hell are minimal surfaces? A surface that locally minimizes its area. This is equivalent to having zero mean curvature. Alright. One moment. I'm just, yeah, it's really almost with me often a rabbit hole, Wikipedia. I'm now looking at catenoids, all kinds of planes or shapes. And then also plane. Yeah, so the helicoids after the plane and the catenoids is the third minimal surface to be known. Alright, and that is all, sorry, I did a sidestep after looking up helix. Anyway, helix was in here, let them coil their helix. Yeah, and coil is of course also swinging around, coiling around, right? A length of something wound in a joint sequence of concentric rings. Arrange something long and flexible in a coil. Yeah, and then concentric. What the hell is a concentric ring? All for denoting circles, arcs, or other shapes which share the same center, the larger often completely surrounding the smaller. Concentric ring, isn't that like pleonastic? A ring, isn't that always concentric? Ah, maybe not. Not if they do not share the same center. Alright, anyways, sorry, that was a very long sidestep. Oh, yes, yes, what of the assassins? Corrupted, short-sighted, their purpose is fulfilled. The assassins must die before they find my others. Others, beloved? An alarm sounds in the distance, electronic. Go, now, quickly, go. Belle Epoque, literally the beautiful age, is the name given to the period 1871 when the Franco-Prussian War ended, and 1914 when the First World War began. Once France was forced to endure the wars and hardship of the 20th century, it was nostalgically thought of as a golden age, both prosperous and peaceful. A better name for it would have been the "if only they knew what was coming" epoch. Paris, already referred to as the City of Light, grew in size and economic power thanks to technological advances. The Parisian quality of life improved as well. And they didn't even have social networking then. Come to think of it, maybe it was a good time to be alive after all, yeah? Hashtag banter. The 1889 World's Fair. So that is 18 years after it started. Exemplified the spirit of the times and marked the construction of the Eiffel Tower, a symbol of France's new engineering prowess and of the Belle Epoque itself, just as iconic as is the Paris Metro, whose construction began in 1898 and which opened to the public 2 years later. That's pretty quick. However, these weren't the first grand accomplishments of the era. The Statue of Liberty was built over a decade earlier as a gift to the United States, representing the Roman goddess of freedom and celebrating American independence. Nice. So that was 1879. But while Paris became the cultural capital of the world and its arts and literature flourished, there was also political and racial tension. Anarchist groups who saw nothing but bourgeois decadence in the culture of cafes and cabarets, such as the Moulin Rouge, resorted to acts of terrorism. Soon, a more widespread terror would put an end to this golden age, as war once again gripped the continent. Right, German forces invaded France in World War II. German forces invaded France in 1940, arriving in Paris in June and establishing an occupying force that would last until August 1944. Although a nominal French government operated from Vichy in the south of the country, the Nazi administration ruled the north and would come to control the whole of France by November 1942. While the Vichy administration collaborated with the Germans hoping for a swift end to the war, resistance fighters sprung everywhere and organized against the invaders. As a countermeasure, the Nazi regime deployed its intelligence service, the Gestapo, and its security police. As a central icon of Paris, the Eiffel Tower became somewhat of a symbolic battleground. Hitler ordered its demolition, but his orders were never carried out, and the Germans would later deck it with Nazi banners. In 1944, the year of the liberation of Paris, the tower became a different battle arena, this one taking place in the air. US fighter pilot Captain William Overstreet pursued a German plane over the city and damaged the fighter's engine. The German pilot attempted to shake off his pursuer by flying close to the Eiffel Tower, with some claiming they actually flew underneath it. The ploy didn't work though. Alright, medieval, last one. The late Middle Ages were a turbulent time for Europe, struck first by the Great Famine, 1315-1322, and the Black Death, followed by social turmoil and warfare. Alright, I'm just curious, when were the Middle Ages exact? Middle Ages. The late ones apparently were in the 14th century. The Middle Ages or medieval times in Europe was a long period of history from 500 to 1500s. It covers a time from the fall of the Roman Empire to the rise of the Ottoman Empire. This was a time of castles and peasants, guilds and monasteries, cathedrals and crusades. Alright. France was embroiled in the 100 Years' War with England, a conflict that ran from 1337 to 1553. As two nations wrestled for control of the French throne. English expeditions into French soil, in which they would burn down crops and buildings, took their toll on the economy and the nation's morale. This led directly to the Jacquerie, a peasant revolt in the north of Paris in 1358. Which was followed by other uprisings, cementing France as a nation of unrest and presaging the revolution that was to take place much later. Presaging. That's like preceding, I guess. Be a sign or warning of an imminent event, typically an unwelcome one. Alright, presage versus precedes. Precedes, to go or come before in time. Presage and precede are semantically related in go ahead of topic. In some cases you can use precede instead of verb precedes. Precede, to go or come before in time. Alright, again. A very bad website. Anyways, I think one is more figuratively speaking, presage. It's like foreshadowing, foretelling. The other one is more literal, like actually coming in front of something else. To the extent the two revolutions 4 centuries apart have anything whatsoever to do with another. That was one of the funny footnotes, which I really find super lame. Towards the end of the 14th century, the Bastille was constructed to defend Paris from the English threat. and played a vital role in internal conflicts. The stone required to build it was extracted from large quarries, parts of which were later used as ossuaries and known as the catacombs. 400 years later, the Bastille would become one of the symbols of the French Revolution when Parisians invaded the fortress. Alright, what the hell is an ossuary? Ossuary. A container or room in which the bones of dead people are placed. Alright. One moment. Also looking it up in my own language. Yeah, I would say it's like a bit like a grave room or something. Alright, that was that one. The songs, I will not go into them because it's super annoying. You cannot even read it because the songs are played. I can hardly hear myself, but we also already, I'm pretty sure we went through all of them when opening up the, so it are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When opening up the social clubs. So let's see how many social clubs we have, because I think each one opens up a song, and at that time when I was doing that in the playthrough, I also read out the song description. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, for each social club a song. So, oh, wrong button. So we will be skipping the songs. Then newspapers, I will skip the ones I already read in game, which are a couple of them. I wasn't aware there were so many papers actually. But let's quickly continue with the papers now. We still have 10 minutes in the episodes. Alright, Journal de Paris 1789, new decrees from the National Assembly. Many a hateful law has been abolished, from seigneurial courts, game rights and the buying of magisterial positions, to immunities from taxation and undeserved pensions. They vow more is to come. Our brilliant citizen scientists Laplace, Condorcet, Bourda and Lavoisier will publish a serialized introduction to and defense of the proposed metric system, coming soon in the Journal de Paris. La Bande Noire, dubious actions, going. Dubious auctions, going. A private auction will be held at 12 de la Rue de Buchy on the 14th of Macedon, in dire need of sturdy wood and stones to repair your abodes, or a baptismal font to remember the old ways. Knock 4 times, ask for Flavien. No questions as to the provenance will be answered. Alright, what was La Bande Noire then? That was like, it was earlier also in the database, but I forgot. La Bande Noire. The name given to some speculative asset-stripping syndicates in the 1790s that bought ancient castles and abbeys at knockdown prices in the wake of the French Revolution, only to demolish them and sell off the building materials. These speculators also bought the works of art of all kinds which they contained, and then broke up the surrounding landed estates into small and often unviable parcels of land. Yeah, so it were like mega speculators. Madame Tussauds peculiar skill. The extraordinary Marie Tussaud is able to fashion lifelike figures out of mere mags. You would swear her artworks were about to breathe, although many of her models have breathed their last. Alright. What the hell is a baptismal font? Bob, a font is a letter, right? So how do you buy a letter at an auction? A basin vase or other receptacle in which water is stored for the Christian ritual of baptism. Alright, so font doesn't only mean letter, it can also mean a receptacle in a church for the water used in baptism. Actually, a reservoir for oil in a lamp, a source of desirable quality or commodity. So a letter is not even part of the definition. Here. A set of letters and symbols in a particular design and size. Alright. And provenance, I think, yeah, sorry, I'm just also making use of this to brush up on my English. I think that means origin. The place of origins or earliest known history of something. Alright, next one. Yeah, we already read that one, 100% sure. This one, I don't think we read this one. Following the mayhem at Tuileries Palace, the Legislative Assembly has taken the unprecedented step of suspending the king. He is under heavy guard in the temple with the rest of the royal family. La Lanterne, where popular wrath explodes. For years the people have walked under the halo of the lanterns. Their hunger, their restlessness, their hopes for a fairer tomorrow, never once illuminated by the flicker of lamplights. Today they are using those same lanterns to answer their thirst for justice by hanging people to them. Citizen Shop has demonstrated with great success the use of his newest communications technology. Messages between Paris and Lille have been relayed with astonishing speed, hours literally, a miracle of modern science. Good Citizen Sanson, the executioner of Paris, requests donations of old rags and other clothes no longer needed for the mopping up of excess blood upon the guillotine's gibbets. It's quite a hazardous work environment, but you can help. Murderous giant. Another absurd report has emerged of a lethal giant who stalks the alleyways just off the Cour des Miracles. Citizens of the neighborhood call him the giant Iscariot, but we call him an illusion suffered by those given too much drink. Alright, gibbet. What the hell is gibbet? A gallows. Hang up on a gibbet. Alright, but then what is a gallows? How is... And I hope that is not defined as a gibbet. The apparatus for execution, the sentence of death by hanging. It usually consists of two upright posts and a crossbeam, but sometimes consists of a single upright with a beam projecting from the top. Alright, next one. Alright, I think I didn't read this one yet. So this one was 92, 91, 89. This is 93. Citizen Danton and Robespierre would like to defend their action and honor before the public attacks of Citizen Louvet and company. In these dangerous times, the revolution needs strong leaders, men unafraid of taking the hardest decisions. News of Lafayette, the treacherous dog, having accused and arrested the honorable members of the Paris Commune, sent to treat with him. His brave troops' unwillingness to march on Paris has forced him to desert his post and flee through enemy lines. Having accused and arrested the honorable members of the Paris Commune sent to treat with him, his brave troops' unwillingness to march on Paris has forced him to desert his post and flee through enemy lines. Alright, but I think that Lafayette now, I already looked at his bio earlier, I think he actually was seen as a pretty, in France now, as kind of a hero. He did survive the revolution. He was like in the American Revolutionary War, commanding American troops. After returning to France, he was a key figure in the French Revolution and July Revolution of 1830. He has been considered a national hero in both countries. Right, and I even think one moment. That he may have an entry in the database himself. I'm not 100% sure. But at least there's mentioning of him, I'm pretty sure. Ah, no. I'm pretty sure he's mentioned somewhere. But anyways, apparently he was also regarded by many as a traitor. Because I think he was quite moderate. He played both sides or something. Jacques Crapeau's tannery. Yeah, now I'm really like, do I want to find that entry where... Let's see if I can find it online. Lafayette, AC Unity. Here. Gilbert de Motier, Marquis de Lafayette. He was a French aristocrat and military officer born in South Central France during the American Revolutionary War. Lafayette served as a major general in the Continental Army under George Washington. However, Louis XVI of France refused to allow Lafayette to leave his post in the French army. Wait, Lafayette volunteered eager to join the patriot cause for freedom and independence from the British, France's longtime rival. This is, I think, from AC3. There he has a more permanent place, I guess. Man, this is a really long entry. That's all because of AC3, which I will be playing after Dead Kings. After the war, Lafayette returned to France and took part in the French Revolution, bringing democracy and radical national reform to France. On 89, Lafayette was appointed as the new commander of the National Guards. 91, he led them in defense of King Louis XVI at the Tuileries Palace. In which the guard fought with over 400 nobles who also sought to defend the king and had been mistaken Jacobin for conspirators. However, he went into exile because he advocated a constitutional monarchy instead of the empire that had emerged from the chaos in France. Alright, yeah, that's probably it. He was a royalist. Here it says, indeed, mentioned in database entry in AC Unity. Ah, here, database Les Patriotes 1789. And the Jacobin Club. So, Les Patriotes 1789. Is he over here? No. HUD escapes again. Does that mean that I do not have all... There is apparently a database entry here of Les Patriotes 1789. Ah, here it is. Alright, so this is... we will read that one later, and then apparently... There is also the Jacobin Club. I'm not sure where to find that. Where do you find here? The Jacobin? Here. The Society of the Friends of the Constitution, or Jacobin Club, deriving its name from the convent where its member guarded, was one of the most powerful political clubs in France for much of the Revolution. With over 7,000 chapters at its height, its membership was estimated at nearly 500,000. The club was initially a gathering place for Breton deputies, but quickly expanded to allow anyone, even civilians and foreign nationals, to join. Sounds pretty exclusive. Despite its... Alright, I will just scan through it. We already read this. But then, where is Lafayette? He's not even here. Alright, annoying. 1 second. According to this fandom site, this database entry or maybe it's a mission. Alright, let's see if Lafayette is in this page. 1 second, sorry, but I find it a bit annoying. Here, dialogue. 400 armed noblemen on the way, if it weren't for General Lafayette. Alright. Lafreniere. Alright, whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that Lafayette also pops up in other entries over here. But I'm not going to open each and every one of them, because they are really pretty long often. And there are a lot of people, so to say, to scroll through. So let's just leave it. I am over, I think, the 40-minute marker, so we have to add another episode. Where are we? We are in the newspapers. Let's finish this one. Jacques Rappeau's tannery is again looking for laborers with 10-hour days and paid breaks for vomiting. We're well above the industry standards. Upon the usual untimely death, a small sum will be sent to the worker's family. Marat is dead, citizens. The flame of the revolution has dimmed. The most ardent of us all has been viciously assassinated as he sat unwittingly in his bath. We will publish details of the crime as they come to light, but for now let us bow our heads in homage to this greatest of revolutionaries. Amazon fights for the revolution. Readers recall the astonishing Theron de Méricourt. She who leads the crowds at many a revolutionary event. Now she has taken it upon herself to raise a brigade of warrior women. We salute the efforts of this extraordinary woman. Alright, let's read the last one of this Journal de Paris. A mysterious cult in the depth of the Cité. Rumors persist that an old religious cult dating back centuries performs old rituals in underground caverns. Ridiculous? Of course it is. Citizen Égalité seems to have been the driving force behind the sentencing of his cousin Louis Capet. His tireless, insightful reasoning of the situation and all the stakes involved helped sway many a fence-sitter. Who the hell is that? Citizen Égalité. Is that one of the council members or the Assemblée Nationale or something? Égalité. Louis-Philippe II, Duke of Orleans. He supported the French Revolution and died in 93. I think that is the guy that we may have killed in the main game. So let's quickly see upon his death. Ah no, he was himself also guillotined. He voted for the death of King Louis XVI, however he was himself guillotined in November 1793 during the Reign of Terror. Why was he guillotined? He actively supported the revolution, was a strong advocate of the elimination of the monarchy. He was in favor of constitutional monarchy. That's probably too moderate for the extremists. Alright. And he is called Citizen Égalité. In 1792, during the revolution, he changed, and he then is Louis-Philippe II, Duke of Orleans. So he's super aristocracy. He changed his name to Philippe Égalité. What a immense opportunist. He was one of the wealthiest men in France. What a loser. The Vendée rises against us, citizens. They hold to the old ways and fear the march of progress. They kill good patriots and seek aid of the craven English. Though it pains me to think of violence toward my fellow Frenchmen, they will know bitter defeat. We already read this one, by the way. A revolutionary, it now hits me. A revolutionary tribal will safeguard our laws in these times of war. To expedite justice and safeguard the Republic, none can be tolerated who do not swim with the course of liberty. Saint Just sets the fashion. Louis-Antoine de Saint-Just, he of the exalted Committee of Public Safety, has inspired the crowds milling about the Jacobin Club. Sporting an unusual waistcoat of exquisite design, the just appointed president of the convention delighted one and all with his luxurious looks and noble mien. And mien means, I think, facial feature or something. I think I already looked this up, but I forgot. A person's appearance or manner. Alright, anyways, I'm already, I think, way over the 40-minute marker. I will be continuing in the next one. We really are making progress. We're nearing the end of the whole database reading. Hope to see you there. Hope you enjoyed. For the meantime, do not forget, always do keep on gaming. See you later.